The essentials of renting a property. You've seen the rental property, and now you need to fill out an application. We're going to teach you what to do and what not to do when filling out an application. Stay tuned.
Good morning, Mark.
How are you, Sienna?
Ready to go. I'm excited. First time by
Rocket
myself.
Yeah, it's the first time Sienna's ever done a live with and also with Novak. So you've had a bit of practice though. You should be just fine.
Let's jump straight into it, shall we?
We will. So Sienna, thanks for coming on. And everyone, the reason we've done this is we're two real estate agents in the northern beaches of Sydney, and we come across tenants. We rent out an enormous amount of rental properties. We actually rent out more than any other agency. There's 185 agencies on the northern beaches. We're one of the biggest in Sydney. So we've got the benefit of numbers. So we're renting 70, 80 properties a month out. And the biggest question is that people have is, I love it. Now what do I do? And I feel like, Sienna, agents sort of almost just throw it out there to the prospective tenant, expecting that the prospective tenant knows what the agent knows. So we're going to take you through the A to Z of filling out an application. If you've ever had your application declined, you'll know the emotion of, what did I do wrong? We're going to step you through that so you don't fall into any traps, so you feel comfortable, and off we go. So Sienna, what are you going to do now, Sienna? You're going to bring up a application?
So let me just share our screen and we'll pop onto the Novak website and look at our current properties on the market for rent. Now, this is one of my favorites, Ozone Parade. So we'll go on here.
Yep.
Now, this is pretty much just the ad for the rental property. It gives a brief description of what the property has, where it's close to, and just some handy facts about the property. If you scroll up, we hit apply, and then hopefully I'll get logged in.
So if you haven't got an account, you'll log in and start an account. And most agencies use the same online application software. So you'll register with that. You can also do this off realestate.com, off domain, but most of the time off the agent's website. Yep.
There's also hard copies you can come into the office and do. But as leasing consultants, we love if you put applications online so we can read it clearly. Because once a prospective tenant goes in and does a hard copy, your writing can tend to go a little bit funny after a while.
Yeah. Especially if you're from a non-English background.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties, guys. Right, I'm just gonna start.
Okay, we're in. All right, so the most obvious thing we start with is filling out your, this is as simple as it gets, but there's a couple of hooks and turns, couple of contact details. Now, something not to...
What was that? Not letting me, I'm actually making another account. It's not letting me log in.
Okay.
One moment, guys. Sorry.
Go for gold. One thing that you should remember is that when you're applying for a property, you can't centrally do it on one application. So each applicant must fill out an application, and because everyone's got their own merits. One person's got a great job, the other person's got a great job. You want to let the landlord know that we've got two people going on the lease with great jobs and their references and stuff like that. So always do basically always fill out an application each. There we go on there.
It's not letting me in.
Oh, that's into your code. Now, when also filling out an application, guys, I do often say to people, feel free. You can, if you don't have strong references or a strong job, you can always add more references or add more income to the prospective application by putting on a third or fourth party or a second, third or fourth party. So you may find that your little Johnny and you and your girlfriend who are 19 are going to be applying for a property. Feel free to put on mum or dad, and mum or dad can bolster on their income to the deal, but not live in the property, but they go onto the lease.
Awesome. We're all set up, Mark. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go.
So once you make an account, you'll come to this page. It will ask you if you're applying for this property as a renter or as a company. As a prospective tenant, you'll choose renter.
Yep.
And there. Now this page will take us to your application. Now this will essentially read out all the requirements for you to apply for the property. Now we'll just go through and give you a little brief description of all the requirements. So in New South Wales, you have to be over the age of 18 years old to apply for a property.
Yep.
It also requires photo ID. This is supporting docs, so proof of income, bank statements. If you have a previous rental, it's always great to provide a rental ledger. It gives us as the agent insurance that you're going to pay your rent on time.
It's good to see that consistency with payment and rent if you've got it.
Definitely. And also outlines the requirements when you do get approved for a property. You have to put a bond down of the 4 weeks of rent plus the 2-week holding deposit so you can secure the property.
Okay, good one. And the holding deposit will go towards the rent so you don't lose that.
Definitely. So I agree to all above these terms as the tenant yourself.
Yep.
Now, if you pop down here, this is property details. This essentially outlines the preferred move-in date. So a lot of prospective tenants, they like to put in the date that it's available. But if you're wanting a few weeks ahead and you want to move in maybe a week after, just pop it in there and we'll sort it out. Or if you wanted to go into the property the next day, ASAP.
And bear in mind, this can strengthen up your application. So if it's a date that the owner desires, it is going to be more attractive to the owner. You've got to sometimes you've got to ask the real estate agent, because the owner might be doing like a 2-week renovation, and you may go, "That's perfect. I'll take it." When the day after, or I'm flexible, and that can help your application become stronger. But obviously, owners don't want to lose rent. So if you know the property's vacant and you can take it the next day, put the next day in there.
Yeah. Length of tenancy is how long you're going to be staying at the property for your lease agreement. So if we select 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, or 24 months, you can apply for. And the rent amount is usually, a lot of prospective tenants like to put what is offered on the ad. So for this one, I believe it was $2,850.
Yep. And if you really want to give your application the edge, and you know the property's super sought after, whack a couple of bucks on top, like whack $5 or $10 on top, and you'll raise the eyebrow of the landlord, going, "Oh, that's great." And if there's 2 or 3 applications from someone else putting some other prospective tenant, you're straight away the preferred one dollar-wise.
Definitely. Now, if you go down here, it says, how did you find about this property? Just give us a little description. If you found it on our website, just chuck Novak Properties website on, or realestate.com, domain.com. It gives us, the agent, an idea of where you're getting these resources from. So in the future, we can put those ads online because we know that people are going to those websites.
Nice.
Applicant details. This is your personal details. Usually it will pop up with your first name, last name, and all your mobile and your email because you've made an account. chuck in your details, accurate as possible, as you can see.
With your name, it's just put your whatever's on your passport, whatever's on your license, because a lot of people have different names or nicknames over that. So just not to confuse it, match it with your passport license.
Definitely. And it says, are you a smoker? So yes or no. As a landlord, it's pretty important for them to know that if you are a smoker, to make sure you smoke outside, not in the property itself, because it ruins the walls, the carpets, and it will not turn out nice once you leave the property.
What if you're a vapor?
Well, I guess you can put that in. I request the following special conditions. Can I vape inside?
Can I vape inside? So generally, if you want to stay attractive to the owner, you don't want to be smoking. You don't want to be a smoker.
Yeah. Awesome. So if we scroll down, other occupants. So usually you would put if you have a kid or if you do have another person wanting to come into the property with you, however, doesn't want to be on the lease agreement, put them in as an occupant. And then, however, if you do end your lease agreement and something has happened to the property, the condition of the property, you will be liable.
And then I guess as an owner, you want to see the least amount of people in a property for wear and tear. So I think if you can be more conservative on how many bodies are in there rather than optimistic, it sometimes can be looked at more favourable on that when you fill it out.
Definitely, Mark.
Ace, what about kids coming on a weekend? Single parent, kids coming every second weekend. Do you put them on there? Do you not?
You can always put them on there. It's always great to have all the information when a prospective tenant moves in, because if there was something that would happen to the property and we aren't aware of who's been staying in the property, it can be an issue.
Good to know. Okay.
Off to application questions. This essentially is just a little brief description about why you're moving. If you're an Australian citizen, if you viewed the property yourself, and just additional comments if you wanted to add anything in there. Anything you want to add, Mark?
Yeah, I think every landlord loves background and loves a story about who's moving into their asset. So I think if you can, as fruity as you can be there, have a bit of fun, have a bit of personality, give the landlord some depth, and that's the story that they're going to latch onto. So everyone wants to know who's moved in, and this is where we're going to explain. So yeah, try to sort of add a bit of depth in there rather than just need something bigger.
Definitely. If we scroll down, it says, was your rental bond at your last address refund in full? This gives us, the agent and the landlord, of what kind of tenant you are. If you have been in a previous rental before and haven't received your bond back, it doesn't give us, the agent or the landlord, insurance that you're going to be a great tenant.
So there's a trap right there. Don't fall into it. If you do fall into it, make sure you've got a backstory behind it that you can fill into that as well.
Yeah.
My bond was taken before.
Comments.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So if we come down here, it's pets. Now you want to make sure that the property is considering pets on applications. If you pop in saying, yes, I have a pet, and the landlord already has told us, no, we do not want pets in the property, we won't bother printing out your application, unfortunately. So ensure once you see a property online that you like, read all the details, make sure it's suitable for you and your family.
And nothing bad with a bit of hustle. Sometimes landlords automatically default to no. We had an apartment in Manly recently where they had a husky, beautiful, I think Siberian husky, whatever it was, and they sent a photo of the husky with a scarf on, a really cute photo, had a scarf on him, and with his name and a reference from his last real estate agency and his last landlord. So the owner turned from a no to a yes on a pet application. So, you know, you can have a go, but generally you'll find it's going to be pretty hard most of the time. But yeah, you've got to get personal with pets. And, you know, having said that, there's a lot more pets with COVID around. So I think landlords are more and more coming around than they ever were.
Definitely. Now, if we come down here, we have vehicles. So if you do have a motor vehicle, it's always great to put it in the application. However, Mark, coming into Novax, I did wonder, why do we have to put in our motor vehicle details?
Because it's IDing the person as well. So often if they've got a car rego and a car, also when parking on the lot, sometimes we have issues with Strata. We'll go back and see if these are the guys that are parking illegally. So, you know, sometimes people park in other people's spots or in zones that aren't approved. We can go back and they'll accuse our tenants of being those people, and we can do a car rego check here.
Yeah. Awesome. So if I'll click yes, it'll pop up with all the details that you need to provide for. So type of vehicle, car, truck, caravan, pretty straightforward, and then your registration. Now this would be a number plate.
Got it.
Your make and your model. If you wanted to, you can add another vehicle on there.
Got it.
Now, residential history. Now, this is your current address of where you live. Now, this could be the property that you're renting at the moment, you're living with your parents, or pretty much where you live. So if you pop your address in there, and if you come down to type of landlord, it will say real estate agent, meaning that you're actually renting through an agency. So your property is actually managed by a property manager, or you are directly coming through a landlord. So you're just on a private contract with a landlord.
Okay, so we always want credibility here. So if you're struggling with it, if it's another agency, it's quite credible. It's a third party. If it's a landlord that's self-managed, you sometimes wonder if that landlord's a buddy or if they're a real landlord. So just try to build up credibility when you're a tenant filling this out.
Definitely. Additional information, anything you can provide us about the property, or, you know, your reason for leaving, why you're leaving the property. Is it because your lease agreement ends? Is it because you want closer to work or quality of life, or you want to gain independence? It's great to give details. Just like Mark said before, if you can give us more details, more the better.
Yeah, it just helps us sell it.
Yeah. If you do have a previous address, please pop it in there. It always is great to add as much information as you can on your previous living. Anything you want to add, Mark?
No.
All good. So we'll pop down to financials. This is really important. So this will give us supporting docs about your income, and if you're employed, if you're not employed, if you're a student, or if you're retired. It essentially gives us, the agent, an idea of what you do for a living.
And also, if you're a bit weak on financials, you can always say that you will pay for the first year of tenancy insurance for the landlord. So landlords can insure themselves for $20,000 in default of rent, or for, I think it's 15 weeks, 16 weeks defaulting rent. So you can actually say to the landlord, hey, if you're worried about my income, I will pay the first year of a landlord insurance for you on your behalf, which is about $300-400. Yes, it's the landlord's policy, and no, they won't. You don't take it out; they do, but you simply pay that premium for them for the first year. Once you've proven yourself and you've been regular and been good, you can remove the policy after a year.
Yeah. So we move on. So if you did have a previous employment, throw it in there. Always great. Reference checks. We love to do reference checks as a leasing consultant. Brings us a lot of closure.
Yeah.
Now, if you do pop down to references, this will be the best people to contact you in regards of applying for a rental property. Now, if you come down here, this would be usually people that we can contact while helping to process your application. So even if it's your supervisor, your mum, not the best to put in parents. However, if that's your only option, go for it. Mark, who do you think would be the best person to put in your references?
I think to make sure they are independent personally is really good. So if you're putting someone like someone that's from an institution or a bank or a solicitor or an accountant or someone sort of a bit one removed, if they've got an education like an education or maybe a doctor or someone sort of saying that can help. But I do have to say also when you're filling these out, have a good make sure you talk to those people and make sure you let them know that you're getting a call from us, and make sure that you're supplying a mobile number or plenty of numbers for them. This is the biggest thing that delays applications when a tenant's applying for a property. We just can't get in contact or check references.
Yeah. Awesome. So emergency contact details, the best person for us as the agent if there was an emergency and we can't get a hold of you. So this would be the best person to contact, very reliable and always on their phone.
Yeah. And the reason we'd use that is if you're overseas and there's a water repair, the unit above floods, we need access to your unit. We can't get you. We call this the next of kin or the emergency person. So it's critical.
Yeah. Application documents. So this will be your supporting document. This will be proof of your income, your ID. Now, these are essential. So if you are applying for a property, you need to have these supporting docs for us as the agent to ensure this is who you are.
Got it.
Mark, would you like to add on it?
Nah.
Awesome. So primary documents, birth certificate, Medicare card. We usually like to see as much as you can provide. So if you do have all of those, throw them in. Secondary.
So it takes a while to fill out. It takes, if you just tuned in, we're filling out a rental application, the perfect rental application, and giving you all the tips and tricks so you don't get refused. You can lose days or weeks of your life trying to find a rental property. And if you can just get that rental application right the first time, it can save you a lot of time and money. That's what we're teaching you today.
Definitely. So secondary documents is essentially just your water bills or electricity bills from your previous or your current address. If you do have a current tenancy agreement, it's always good to pop that in.
Yep.
If you pop down here, proof of income, so pay slip, employment agreement, other financial documents, bank statements, Centrelink statements, proof of balance. Mark did mention earlier about not putting in your savings because, as Mark said, if you do like to bet or you do like to go to the bottle-o or go to the Liquorland, as an agent, we don't really want to see that because we want to ensure that you're going to pay rent on time and you're not going to the pokies every Friday night.
Yeah, so just be careful. Like if it looks good, pin it up and let it shine. But have a good logical look. Sometimes it's quite embarrassing when people are supplying their accounts that there's not consistency on that account, consistency with wages or consistency with paying rent. So you just want to make sure that those bank statements are used a little bit like a character reference as well, not just and financial goodwill to show that you're doing everything correctly. So, we've seen some embarrassing things on there, and it's like you can't unsee that.
Yeah. So if we come down here, it will be photo ID. So just your driver's license, proof of your age card or passport. If you can provide all of them, that'd be awesome. Now, background check. I don't essentially know what this exactly means. However, Mark, if you can help me out here, that would be great.
Can you plus it up for me? And again. Ready to make applications stand out, take control, background check, removing the property managers manually, sensitive information area. Oh, yeah. And if you go down a bit. Okay. So a lot of these, I've got it signed up through Bible and trustworthy. Yeah. So a lot of these, often when you go to up for a loan, or when you're going for a new lease on say you want to lease some furniture or do Harvey Norman 48 months free, pay nothing up front sort of thing, they will do these checks on you, and it's a financial check. So they will go and verify that you are. There is a public register that banks use and these guys use, and this will access that public register to check against that as well. So agents don't normally go through this, but if you do this for the landlord and for the agent, again, it can strengthen up your application. Bit of a heavy hitting thing, but depends how bad you want the place.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that. So if you come down here, it will just essentially make you fill out your details again. So your address, your driver's license. Now we come down here and required modules. So this is pretty much your agreed that you're going to pay the security bond of 4 weeks of the rent, and put a holding deposit of 2 weeks so we can secure the property and take the property offline. So that means you essentially have gotten the property, no one can apply for it anymore, and that 2 weeks of holding deposit will go towards the 2 weeks of your rent.
And it's free. If you don't get approved, apart from your time in filling out this application, it doesn't cost you anything. If you're accepted, yes, a holding deposit will be asked of you. Until you sign the lease, you're not technically committed. So this applying for the property is a free process. It's just 1 week's rent or anything like that.
Yeah, awesome. So you just agree to these terms, that you do agree that you're going to pay the holding deposit and the bond. Just a little description if you wanted to have a little bit of a read of it. Really important to know, the holding deposit is not refundable.
Okay.
Terms and conditions.
Once you paid it.
Yeah.
But you've got to be accepted first. You're not accepted yet.
Definitely. So terms, conditions, pretty much, yep. Just gives us a brief description of, we're collecting your personal information. You are consenting that we are collecting your personal information. We will be holding it for, is it 3 years, Mark?
Yep.
When we approve someone? Yep.
Yes.
So as a prospective tenant, it's really important to read the terms and conditions so you are aware of what we're doing with your personal information. Anything you want to add, Mark?
Is that nothing?
No.
I do want to add, this is a pain in the ass.
It's a
half
process.
an hour, isn't it? Like, to apply for a property, you can see by today, it's not easy. But the reality is, these are $500,000 or $1 million assets that you're going to be moving into. We want to make sure that you're the right person for the landlord. So this is, that's why this is done. And this is the same application that all agencies generally use in the marketplace. So you get used to this. You use all applications in the marketplace. Ours isn't particularly easy or particularly hard.
Yeah. So once you agree to those terms and conditions, you can submit your application. And then
thank the Lord. Thank the Lord.
Yay!
Wow. All right. So I think you can see from today, we didn't fill everything out and upload all the documents like we should. An hour of your time on a PC. It can be done on a device as well. But I think the big thing going into it is have your documents ready. And if you don't, it can move on to another day and another day before you fill out the application. So that's big, Sienna.
Well, thank you for having me, Mark. I really enjoyed this morning.
Well, you know what? We can forward this now to anyone who has lots of questions about their application. Hopefully that'll help them out. And I'll just get you to pull off that screen if you could. We'll say goodbye. All right, legend. You take care. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully this will help you out. If you have any friends or family that are going to be renting a property and they don't know what to do, this is the 101 on how to fill out an application and get the property. Thanks, Sienna.
Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.